crawl, everything start to fall, and the truth was plain. Engine room is down the way that's caused the back canal. The pan is the body, but the rhythm is harder the thing. Engine room, that is the solar carnival. Oh, read it damn well, saying if you iron good, you is king. You hear? Check your grandmother, talking to the neighbor next door. If the times didn't change up, or now we'd still be in big war. That is the same woman who put out your mother because she was in love with this man. She used to open the church door just to pray on your head. Now she posing to the neighbor next door. Oh, my granddaughter beats for a steel band. If it wasn't for you, girl, your daddy would have been so dread. But when you see her in the pain, I just have to take again and take it out on the street.
Right, so today is Friday, August 11th, and I'm going to double check that because it's a day like that. It's a day like that. Philip Philip. It's a day like that. And I'm not lucky like Keith. Could take a credit card, swipe it, jump on a plane, grab. Who he grab? Sharon or Ravina? Who he take Barbados with him? With him. Anyway, could be both. He gone. Heat in the place. Digs out. That is a perfect analogy for what's coming, you know. All of them. All of them.
Engine room is done away the peace made frustration. Nearly every old handman could tell you that his in-laws were outlaws. Yes, engine room is the healing of the nation. Sometimes others just let laugh at the bloody thing just because, you know.
So what y'all think? If something happened to me and you fill up my messenger box and you fill up my WhatsApp, it happened to me but I can answer, come now, man. No. Joke is joke. But today has been a tough day. Today has been a tough day. And I apologize for running late. So let's just say we call it an hour late and we will run it for the hour. Though we will go till from 9 to 10. So don't stress. You're not losing your show. I apologize for being late, but they have traffic everywhere because this is the Royal Imperial Majestic Banana Republic of do what the hell you like land. And your prime minister could jump on a plane and go to Barbados, and to hell with you. And the name of this video tonight is Good Governance, because somebody just mentioned to me that a lot of the people in this country have no clue what government job is, you know. People just be arguing with people. When you say, our next murder boy, government failing, and they say, that not government work. That's government work. That's government work. Everything is government work. When the rain fall, it's not government work to make the rain fall, but it's government work to deal with the rain when it fall, to make sure it don't flood. It's also government work to save some of that rainwater if they know, if they anticipate, if history shows that from time to time we may have a drought. BC Paris said today, every time rain falls, Trinidadians pretend like it's the first time they're seeing rain. I said that a couple weeks ago, but he was correct. I shared his post today, and I might read it if we have the time, because he's spot on. He was spot on. I wanted to get his number to call him and say, brother, yeah, leave nothing for the rest of us to write. You write all the words. Because he was spot on. But let's go back to good governance. And if I lose my way, this could probably be a lousy video. If tonight continue how today was, anything could happen. It'll just be a tough day, you know. I will mark down Friday, 11th August. Next year I will spend it in a church. But anyway, we here and we inside. Good governance. When Fitzgerald Hines told the people of Morva that it's not the government job to give them street lines, roads, and jobs, Keith Fitzgerald Hines should have been fired. Because he should have been fired for not knowing that that is precisely the government's job. Now, they have different levels of government. They have local government, central government, a cabinet, a Senate, a Parliament. The Parliament made up of everybody together. We call it also the legislature, but it's also the committee that oversees the legislature, believe that or not. So at the end of it all of the public officials make up that catch-all word government. The Commissioner of Police, he's part of government. The DPP, the Chief Justice, all of that is government. They have separations of arms. They have the separation of powers between the police station, between the police service and the administration. Let's use that word. I wonder if I put another word in there, I might confuse you. Because people say government and opposition, when in fact, the opposition and the elected administration together is the government. Believe it or not. But stick a pin. We in Trinidad, you know how we in Trinidad know a raper is a kind of half circle thing, yellow, with meat inside it. But that's not a raper. And when we start to get plenty Venezuelans coming here, they tell us, that is an empanada. A raper is something like a cornmeal version of a fry bake. But we don't know empanada, we know a raper, and this is what we know as a raper, so we're sticking with that. So we will stick with calling who win the election, the government, and everybody else on the other side, the opposition. Right? First of all, the opposition's job, Basdio Pandey, silver-tongued, silver-haired jackass that he is, enshrined into popular law that opposition's job is to oppose. That is not opposition's job. Opposition's job is to be the government in waiting. According to Westminster, when you elect all 41 of the candidates, the independent members, because Westminster and our constitution don't see political parties. Our constitution can't tell PNM from UNC from a wet fowl. They can't tell it. It doesn't account for political parties anywhere. There is one little asterisk hybrid juxtaposition of a piece of a law that somebody tagging inside of there. I don't know how constitutional it is. They use it to dislodge Herbert Volney. But I think Herbert take that fall to escape that jail for misbehavior in public office. But stick up in there too. Come back to this. The Constitution has no recognition for anything other than, where the Parliament is concerned, independent representatives of the 41 constituencies that together own the Parliament. You know that? All of the people of Trinidad and Tobago together own the Parliament. But it would be a hell of a conversation if 1.3 million of us went to the Red House or to the waterfront. So, the system is, we will divide the country into 41 semi-autonomous regions, call them electoral constituencies, and each of those constituencies will represent from among them a representative to go to the Red House or the waterfront. That's why it's called the Representation of the People Act, because the person that your constituency sends to the Parliament, if 41 into a million is 20,000, 200,000. Let me call Ansel Roger. 1/41th, not the balance, of the people they elect among themselves one of them and say, you go and talk to the other 40 representatives of the other constituencies. And that is the Parliament. You with me so far? 31,707 people. But 20,000 was off. So each constituency of roughly 31,707 people will send a person from among their ranks that they elect into this hallowed chamber, wherever it is. The president, the titular head of government, who used to represent the Queen until we became a republic, and even though we are a member of the Commonwealth, we're no longer a part of the monarchy, so we have our own head of government, and he's the president, His Excellency the President. And he has ceremonial functions for times like this. And after an election, all 41 constituencies in a general election. That means an election for everybody. After a general election, all 41 of the constituencies, this have nothing to do with political parties yet. This is law. All 41 constituencies send a person. And the first time the nation knows who make up all seats, because each of those seats in the parliament belongs to the constituency. It belongs to the constituency. Diego Martin West's seat in the parliament belongs to Diego Martin West. Toko Manzanera's seat in the House of Representatives in the parliament belongs to Toko Manzanera. So all the representatives get together in the House of Representatives. And it is then that His Excellency the President, as head of government, asks, who among you commands the most support from those in this room? And the person that most of the people say, I go support Keith Rowley. And when he does his check, 2 names called, 3 names, 4 names, 5 names called. But 21 say they will support Keith Rowley, and 16 say they will support Kamala, and 5 say they will support Jack Warner. So you have a first, a second, and a third. The first among equals actually is a British term. First among equals because he is still a member of parliament. He is still a representative of the people. First and foremost, that is his main job. He will call him and give him the title of Prime Minister and tell him form a government. The person who came second, he will call that person and give them the title of Leader of the Opposition. Just go back there and wait. If the government falls and there is an opportunity, you should always be agitating to be government. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Agitating plans, programs, policies, ideas. You're supposed to be dealing with the public on the ground, trying to get government. That's the opposition work. The new Prime Minister has to get and appoint an Attorney General. And that is all you need as a government. The Prime Minister is the Minister of everything. He's the Minister of everything. But he might decide he needs help in 20 ministries. Kamala needed help in 29 ministries. So they appoint people and they are sworn in as ministers. That's how you end up with a government. Now, not all ministers are cabinet ministers. From among the ministers, the Prime Minister chooses and says, you're a senior minister and you're a junior minister, and the senior ministers come together with me in something called a cabinet. A cabinet used to be something in British history where the king used to choose a handful of people that he wanted to talk to, and they used to literally go and sit down inside a cabinet. That's why it's called the cabinet. Believe it or not. A lot of this you should know. Sorry for boring you, but you have to know these things if you're going to have an intelligent conversation. The government and all of the ministries take responsibility for the operation of the country once sworn in. You are responsible for the operation of the country. From that minute go forward, the last person has no more responsibility. You can't talk to them about them. And this is the contradiction that is Trinidad. I will never forget watching Gordon Brown, when he lost the election, drove into Buckingham Palace as Prime Minister with 8 outriders. The helicopters were there. And they were showing you 8 outriders in the big Rolls Royce, and they drove in and they stopped all the traffic and they drove in. And about 2 hours later, he drove out in his little black car. And nobody stopped traffic for him. If at that moment he realized he forget his wallet inside, he have to go back to the security and come out and knock on the door. And they have to call inside and say, a gentleman by the name of Gordon Brown. That's how it's supposed to work. That the system has people responsible. The handover is stark, is complete. There's no, you're responsible for this and I take it over now, but help me. They have none of that. You are responsible by law. According to the Constitution, that's your role. And when you have a Minister of National Security, it's inherent in the title. Because if the Prime Minister does not appoint a Minister of National Security. The Prime Minister is the de facto Minister of National Security. Regardless of whether you give it a title or not, the Prime Minister is responsible for crime, for security, for food, for managing water courses, for cleaning the country. The Prime Minister is the chief servant. His job is to make sure that all of the business of state is properly conducted. That's his job. That's what you're supposed to be voting into office. Now, we also copied and pasted a lot of things from Britain that we never needed. Britain needs a local government because central government is in London. And you could be the member of parliament for Ireland. So you need a local government in Ireland to take care of Ireland. But the member of parliament for Diego Martin West drives 5 minutes to get to the cabinet or to the parliament. The furthest anybody is coming from, I guess, is Tobago. And they make allowances for the people from Tobago. So maybe if you want to press the point, Tobago could have a local government. But we don't need that. And that's why the Progressive Empowerment Party wants to abolish it. We want to remove all the contradictory things. We want to remove the local government and make the member of parliament responsible for his or her constituency. And we want to give the member of parliament 5 people to work with him. A board of supervisors. A supervisor for education, health, public works, public utilities, and security. Those are important things to the people in their daily lives. There are other important things that will be handled at a central government level. But these things could be managed. It makes no sense. It never makes sense to have one Minister of Education determining everything that goes on. Because when you hear that at the end of the term, this school ain't open or that teacher didn't get, it's madness. It's always nonsense. One person can't do it. And then you end up with a bureaucracy. Because you end up with a sea of people and overlap and people don't know. It's like when central government get called to do a job under the UNC, they had a Minister of Water Courses, a Minister of Public Utilities, a Minister of Works, and then you had county, regional corporation councillors. And in the regional corporation, I just found out that they have some people that answer to the minister and some people that answer to the chairman. And they all call together a regional corporation, but they all don't work together. They all don't work together. But we want to remove that local government. So we want to say, and I want you to picture, right? This is how we propose. But I want you to also know that right now, the Minister of Works is responsible for every pothole and every traffic jam. Somebody told me today that Trinidad Pitch paves half the roads on planet Earth. And if that is a fact, because I don't know, but if that is a fact, I want to tell you, we get into power, regardless of who have what contract with the pitch lake, undo and redo. That is our national treasure, and that will always be. Undo and redo, that will serve the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And what we sell and what we export will be public and transparent. Right now, nobody knows what we get for pitch. You know the price of a barrel of oil, you know the price of a cubic meter of gas, but nobody knows what we selling pitch for, who we selling it to, who gets the money when it sells. You never hear about it. I don't know, and I know a lot of stuff. If I don't know what's happening to the pitch lake, I am sure it's some kind of underhanded scheme to me. Like everything else in the Royal Imperial Majestic Banana Republic of do what the hell you like land. Come back to this. If you have a board of supervisors running your constituency, your supervisor of public works will be responsible for all of the roads in your constituency. Your supervisor of utilities will be responsible for all of the utilities in your constituency, the delivery of water. You don't have to worry about running without water. You have a person answerable to central government that is responsible for the delivery of water in your constituency. You now have 1 degree of separation from why you don't have water, and he has to answer. Why don't we have water? You can't tell me the pipeline empty. They have 5 different ways you can give us water. We could trap rainwater, we could dig wells, we could desalinate, we could pipe water in from outside. We could buy water. You have to be able to tell me how come we don't have water, because that's your job. And if you cannot give us water, fire yourself. That's government. That's government. That's government. Understand? When I explain to people our education policy, they start off when I say abolish the SEA, zone all schools are 10-year schools, give each child a GPA. The average person gets in a huff and they reach like this and they want to argue, and I say, wait, let me explain it, wait, and you see them slowly until by the end, and then they say, you know, that's a fantastic idea. Trinidadians are so accustomed to what prevails in this country, the dysfunctionality that is Trinidad and Tobago. Nothing works. Nothing works. I make a joke, nothing works but the record. Only the record works. Nothing works. Nothing works. All of it is bullshit. Everything is fraught with some kind of underhanded scheme. Nothing works. Education, SEA, how people, you don't know. You could never tell. You seeing people in a class getting marks on a paper. You don't even know if mommy and daddy bribing the teacher to put their marks on the paper. You don't know. You don't know. There are no systems to guarantee transparency. You don't know if the child that passed for this school really passed for that school. You don't know if the marks that you get on your paper was higher than the marks the person who get in a better school than you. You don't know. You don't know. And we want a fully transparent system. We want a system where a child's GPA could be traced from the Minister of Education straight to the child. Through a system that makes sense. Because this system makes all schools immediately prestige schools. Because this system gives all schools the same advantages. This system makes all schools similarly functional and puts people in a position of accountability for every child. So now you could trace responsibility, like I just told you about the water. Because a child in a classroom's GPA affects the total class, which affects the teacher's GPA. And that teacher's GPA affects all the classes in the school, that makes the principal's GPA, which affects all the schools in the constituency, affecting the supervisor of education's GPA. So, with a national target of 4.4 per child, means that with all things working properly, all the children, the class, all the classes, the school, all the schools together, all of the constituencies would have a 4.4 average. Was that the number I said? 4.4. And if a constituency does less, you could then go to the supervisor of education and says, we're all doing 4.4, but you did 4.2. How? So the teacher looks at their 20 school, the supervisor of education looks at the 20 schools, and they say, this one school has a lower than normal average. So we go to that school and we talk to the principal that all the schools and all the constituencies in the country doing 4.4, but you. What's going on? And the principal will check the classes and identify which classes are falling behind and which teachers. And you get to go and interview the teachers and see what's the difference between the rest of the country and these classes. And if it is some children who have difficulty learning, some may be dyslexic, some may be in an environment, violence, poverty, hungry children can't eat. Yesterday I talked about it and people asking me, will we have a school feeding program? Yes, you must. You have to. You have to share the national wealth. What we cannot have is a CPEP-run school feeding program. We need a proper functioning Parent-Teachers Association per school. And the Parent-Teachers Association will decide of all the companies that exist in the constituency, because you can't give a contract outside of your constituency. We want to make sure the money drills right down. So you in Diego Martin West, and I will continue to use that as my example. You in Diego Martin West have 12 food companies that want the contract to provide food for your school. And the Parent Teachers Association, which is a gathering of parents and teachers, sit together talk with the providers, get information on them, sample the food they want to give the children, read the menu, and say, okay, we appoint you. And we will review it annually. The law should be 90% of what is in the container should be locally grown, so that the farmers have a direct link and the children have an understanding of what is Trinidad food. And that's that. That is good governance. A supervisor of security who should be, and I want all of these supervisors to be making the same salary as a senator. You see, you must want that job. You must want to be a supervisor. A constituency supervisor is a big work. After that, you're a minister. 5 years as a constituency supervisor, you're in line among 41 other people for promotion. But I want them to be earning, to have tax-free status. I want them to be able to buy Mercedes-Benz and BMW and Range Rover and all whatever is the fancy cars. I want them to have a good life and be able to live well. I want school principals to be at that salary too. I want senior superintendents and assistant commissioners of police to be at that salary, because we want to make sure that we're paying you well and you want to keep that job. And we know that the assistant and the vice and the deputy want your work bad. Every day as you wake up, you're hearing that person's heartbeat behind you, feeling their breath on your neck, because they want those perks. They want that title, and you have to defend it. That's good governance. That's how good governance works. But we don't do that because we pretend we have no money while stealing money and spending it on foolishness. The nation is going after Rohan Senanan because the nation is very aware that what was attempted on the port was a rip-off, pure corruption. And the nation is aware. And all of Rohan Senanan dancing all over the place, and this woman Lewis, her dancing. All the dancing music stopped. Nobody had no chair to sit on. And Rohan Senanan losing his cool. The Guardian published him saying, it's pure stupidness. I ain't own it, my wife ain't own it, my child ain't own it. Partner, slow your roll. We don't want talk. You are the Minister of Transportation. Forget everything else. We just want to know. Because the Port Authority Board had to tell you. After everything that went on, that you say went on with the Superfast Glacier, because you went to the Attorney General, you were the Prime Minister. He kicked it to Faris and to Stewart. He said, investigate this. Banditry in the Superfast Glacier. So with everything that went on there, you had to know that it was going to be transparent when it comes to your appointments. So you know that the board, because this is your board, you fire the last board. 10 o'clock on a Monday night, you fire them. You dismiss them. Poor Ferdy Ferreira leave there. Vex. Went to the media and said this man is a jackass. You had to know, the port had to call you and tell you, we are giving the contract to Bridgman Services, Rohan Senanan. You had to ask, because you had to make sure that it wasn't a UNC getting the contract. I say it like this because I know that you know who Bridgman was before the port met them. Bridgman wasn't reaching that high if you didn't know them. Because that was you were sent there to do. You were sent there to make a way for the Kabbalists to get that contract. That was a feeding frenzy gone awry. But I'm assuming for you that somebody had to call you as minister and say, we want to give the contract to Bridgman Services. They're the white knight. They're solving the problem, the gap in the bridge. That gap is being filled. This company, they come to save it. Who? You had to ask who. And we don't want to see your fancy footsteps. We just want to know, who did you give it to? We have a list of names. And we're waiting to see if political financiers manipulated the system of procurement that appointed, if political financiers were involved in machinations that undid the former Seabridge, you, Rohan Senanan, you are guilty of misbehavior in public office, and you will be prosecuted and jailed for it. You see, I know when I tell Trinidadians since April, they say, what is man talking about, this sea bridge? I tell all it come in. When I say he's doing this, because it's tightening a noose around you. Ultimately, no matter who of the Kabbalists get the contract, you authorize it. So when I ask you who, I want the connection to you. Because you and your Port Authority board have a fiduciary responsibility, and you have to answer, and a legal responsibility. You have to come straight. And all you could send, all the police, all the licensing officers, you could measure people's foot size. You could cause traffic. You could turn off water. You could turn off electricity. You could go and lock up Muslims. You could call state of emergency. We will wait you out. Rohan Sinanan, you are going to answer. I have the PNM playbook. I know every step you could take. I know every distraction you could make. I know Rowley Bottom doing so too. That is why he and Sharon and Ravina in Barbados. I know that. Because I fear, I suspect somebody close to the Prime Minister involved in Bridgman Services Trinidad and Tobago Limited, the ghost company that appeared like a thief in the proverbial night. 5 days before they had a contract, they didn't exist. Shopping all over the world for a boat. Rohan Sinanan. Good governance. You are the opposite of that. As Minister of Works and Transport, you took advantage of the people. You took advantage of the opportunity. Let me not say it yet. We're waiting. At some point, you have to tell us who you gave that contract to. Yeah? But today, Bacchanal in the Balize. Why Rowley in Barbados? Hear this. I get this early this morning. Sources within the PNM who were there and witnessed the confrontation between two senior cabinet members at a cabinet meeting today report that serious questions were asked by a high-ranking member of the Rowley government over the now fiasco concerning the awarding of the contract, the Sea Bridge contract between the port and Bridgman that resulted in the cancellation of the Ocean Flower. It is alleged, it is alleged that a minister, I remember a minister when he said that, he lost his train of thought and he wanted to say alleged and he said alleged. Since then we said, well, if you're an alleger, you're an alligator. It is alleged that a minister took strong objection over the line of questioning from his cabinet colleague. When the PM, Prime Minister, refused to take action against the minister with responsibility for the port, one cabinet member became very angry and began to shout at his colleague. Reliable sources said the Prime Minister became very agitated and requested the cabinet member to leave the room and go cool down. On his return, he gave an ultimatum to his cabinet colleague to resign, or if he refuses to step aside, the Prime Minister should remove him. This is why Rowley's in Barbados. Rowley duck and run. The Prime Minister then requested 24 hours to come up with a solution and asked both members to keep cool and allow him time to fix the problem. The Prime Minister told them the political fallout would be disastrous for all if he acted now, and the PNM government couldn't stand the next embarrassment so soon after the Marlin firing. Well, Keith, I want to tell you, you're done embarrassed already. Your party is in tatters. None of your defenders are defending you. Worse, PNM talking heads was the most vocal of your sycophants have gone mute. They're not defending you anymore. And the Manning faction, who you pelt far and wide, Amy Brown in South America, Penelope Beckles in Asia, who you didn't get rid of, you silenced or you pelt them away. They're coming back together like a local version of Game of Thrones and are marshalling forces against you within the party. And this we know for a fact. And that many who you are turning to for support within the actual People's National Movement, not the bandit clan government, the actual People's National Movement government, they're not taking your calls. And it appears that senior members of the actual People's National Movement government wants to see Rohan Sinanan fall. And they want to see who he taken with him. And I can't lie. I'm waiting to see myself. They have a certain face I'm looking for among the crowd. I'm waiting. Just like what's going on in the Yellow Bandit clan with Rudal and Kamala and Vasant. A team, B team and C team. Them having an Olympics to see who could run the party. Under no circumstances. Yeah? The only thing them good for now is Bacchanal. Rudal know all those who practicing gunshots. That information coming to him and he busting mark. He take over from Rowley. You're getting nothing like a policy proposal from the government in waiting. You know why? Because they have to defend their track record. You can't say it now. You can't talk about crime now, Kamala, when it was such a dismal failure under you. You can't talk about the ambulance service, Kamala, because it was a dismal failure under you. You can't talk about healthcare. It was a dismal failure under you. You can't talk about education. It was a dismal failure under you. You can't talk about corruption. Your government was the most corrupt in this country's history. All Kamala could do right now is posture and pose and fume. She have nowhere to go. And to the poor supporters of the UNC, who up a creek without a paddle, looking to see where they could jump ship now. Because they're following Rudal. Nobody wants to talk to Vasant Bharat, and Kamala is a spent force. The entire front line of the UNC is held in the lowest esteem, lowest of esteems, and people believe many of them are corrupt beyond salvation. And nobody wants to see a yellow government in power in this country ever again. They thief too much. They put we in trouble. The country, they totter it on the brink of economic collapse because Kamala and she government thief all the money. Thief out all the money. Thief all. Buying US from the Chinese people at 10-50 to 1 just to get the thief money out of the country. All she contractor friends. Listen, they had lawyers step out of law school and driving the biggest Mercedes-Benz, you know. Right now, live large under UNC, and everybody knew who to reward for their appointments. Yeah? So what are we to do? What are we to do? Trinidad and Tobago, what are we to do? We've never had good governance, because when we look back and we see that the amount of money that was spent, and you have to understand, you can't defend it. You can't defend it. Look around your condition, your circumstances. I hear the crime so bad now that there are gangs going into communities and asking for lists of people with money so they could rob them. You see the kind of guns that the police stumbling upon. I find it so strange how forgetful and careless these criminals are, that they would leave their drugs and guns unattended. So police could find drugs and guns, but nobody minded it. You find that funny? and strange. How much times you go find a 3 gun and a 4 packet of marijuana and a 2 thing of whatever white powder wrap up in cellophane that you tell we is cocaine, but we don't know if it's cocaine, because we don't know what happened to the cocaine from Monas. We don't know. And the people don't know who to trust. They don't know who to trust. And neither party has come to you to say that we have a plan. KPMG has been awarded the contract to find you a commissioner of police. What absolute clusterfuckery is that? Is this a beauty pageant? How does KPMG end up with the contract to find the commissioner of police for Trinidad and Tobago? What madness is that? It's like we've run out of insanities and making up new ones. KPMG is going to find you a commissioner of police. I can't wait for the swimsuit round of the competition. I can't wait. This is insane. They've run out of ideas. Kamala and Keith met for 3 hours. And you telling me they couldn't come up with one idea between them for 3 hours? And that is a prime minister and a leader of the opposition. They couldn't agree at least how to appoint a commissioner of police. It's not funny anymore. It's deadly serious. And shock doctrine and the politics of distraction. You see like what's going on in America with North Korea and Trump to legitimize his presidency. I'll never forget when Dennis Miller had said on TV, and I was watching this comedy show, and he said, Monica Lewinsky, when Bill Clinton was president of the United States, Monica Lewinsky has apparently saved a blue dress with the president's DNA on it. A fancy word for saying semen. And if it is proven to be the president's DNA, many Iraqis are going to have to die. That's how shock doctrine works. Shock doctrine right now has the whole world talking about we're on the brink of nuclear war. How the hell did we end up there? Well, you have a presidency that's collapsing, so he needs to distract you. Plus, the people who supplies bombs and missiles, they've not gotten to use them up in a while, so they need to use them up so they could sell you some more. But that's America, and I don't take them on. Because no matter what I say, I can't affect that. That circus is going to go on its own. I can only deal with Trinidad. And today, there was mad traffic all over this country, and the only question I could think of is, what are they trying to distract you from? You see, if you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, were to get out your cars, lock it, and walk home, say, fire truck this. I ain't going through this again. I go and move it out. When them jackasses get the act together, call me, I'll move my car. Because they can't wreck 10,000 car. Where they going to put it? In the savannah? The truth of the matter is, traffic is a function of mismanagement by government. You cannot have a situation where, just so, out of the blue, you cause all that traffic today, and that be right. The country is run by gangs. Shirt and tie gangs, uniformed gangs. Gangs. I don't feel as much fear when I see little jackasses like Crisis from Unruly ISIS and all of them jackasses gallivanting all over the place and beating up themselves in the public. I have more concern for what goes on in the parliament. We live in a country where a member of parliament was accused of tampering with legislation. that was passed into law, and he tampered with it. A former high court judge tampered with legislation. He was fired for this. He admitted it. He apologized. So this is not me saying it. A former high court judge, as a minister and a member of parliament, tampered with legislation that was passed into law to free financiers wanted to be extradited to a foreign jurisdiction for money laundering. And that minister has never been charged. What other crime does he have to commit for them to realize that this is misbehavior in public office? What did he have to do? The country cannot continue like this. We are already in a crisis. You cannot have this situation continue to run. Our parliament was set up as a circus. We elect a speaker from a side of the house that ran for election against the other side of the house. So they will never be impartial, no matter how much we try, hope, and pretend. So what is the purpose of the theater? Why do it? Why not undo it and redo it and replace it with something that works? That's why we tell you, we want 41 seats. If you give us a simple majority and we have to go and sit down with them and argue, we will call elections right away and walk away. You're not serious. You want circus, you want theater and bacchanal, go ahead. But we're not here for that. I have to tell a man today, he come to me and I'm saying that without credit in the economy, the middle class is going to die. I'm trying to get Trinidadians to understand the banks, these three little fly-by-night Canadian banks we have here, that is not a banking industry. Fire them. If you do not want to work for the betterment of the country, haul your ass. There are thousands of banks in the world. Open up the economy, open up the country, bring them in. Fire Scotiabank, fire RBC, fire, what's the next one? Republic Bank, fire them. Fire them. Go your way. Because a progressive empowerment party government will write as law, you cannot charge fees on deposits and transactions in a bank. You cannot. So if you cannot operate like that, haul your ass and go. Bye. See ya. And you have to give interest on depositors' money. You have to. And the only way you're going to make your money is the original arrangement that was made. The banking system is set up. This is it. You put your money in there and they guarantee to keep it safe. They use your money and lend it to other people to make interest so they could pay you interest and you can make a little caca on your money and they can make a profit and people who need loans could get a loan and everybody get a win. That's not what's happening now. What's happening now is the banks don't have to pay you interest. Good times, bad times, no interest for you. Booming, busting, no interest for you. Your money is sitting down in the bank and you're losing money. Half of 1%. What the ass is that? And half of 1% not covering the $15 they're charging you to cash a check. And busing style to open an account. Fine. Clearly other people want this business because you're making $3 and $4 billion a year. So clearly banking in Trinidad have money in it. Have money in it. And we need to put credit to work in the economy. That's the bank's job. If the banks are not prepared to lend money, haul your ass and go. Scotia, RBC, Republic, JMMB, First Citizens, well, first we own that one so we can make it law. The rest of all you, haul your ass and go. We will bring banks that understand. You take depositors' money, pay them interest. Lend out the money, collect your interest. All are we happy. Make your billions, no problem. But you would be putting continuous credit in the economy. You see, If your child tomorrow decides she want to be a hairdresser or a mechanic, we all cannot be lawyers. Frig, we already have too much lawyers. People suing one another for no reason now. We have too much lawyers. We have doctors that can't get work. Stop. We have enough. We don't have enough builders. We don't have enough mechanics. We don't have enough tradesmen. We don't have enough of all the other things that it takes to make up a life. And if your child decided that he is very good at fixing cars and he would like to open a business, he can't get the money. He can't. There's no money for him. The bank have no money for him. If your daughter is a cook or your son is a chef and they want to open a restaurant, fire on you. Go and work for somebody for the rest of your life. If you want to open 126 coffee shops just like Jackass Cat Mario Sabga Abood, the Starbucks of the Caribbean, if you want it to be the Starbucks of the Caribbean too, you can't. I don't know where Mario Sabga Abood get money to open a restaurant a month. But that is what every other businessman need. And when he sit down there to beat the chest about being a 1%, I want to ask him, Mario, how much store you open, boy? Where you get that money from? One pizza, boys, downtown. Bill all that so fast. You should be writing books, teaching in university, brother. Plain talk. Talk. How it come? And why the rest of the people in the country don't have that advantage? Why? And that's where we need to go. So when Peter George demonstrated his lack of understanding of how an economy works, said his biggest fear is the collapse of the middle class that protects him from the poor people that want to eat him, like Gibby. He didn't understand that the subject of his outrage was supposed to be banking industry that has destroyed the middle class. The banking industry, because the middle class is predicated on two things: risk and credit. The middle class takes the risk. All the big companies in the world, the 5 biggest companies on planet Earth today, all started in somebody's garage or back bedroom. All. And I know plenty massive companies. I do in communications long time. That I set up their communications for them when they transition from a backyard to a facility. Risk and credit creates business opportunity. And if we had proper credit in this country, Ansa McCall and Massey could have never get so big. Them suck like a vacuum because they have buying power. And this jackass today, fella last name is Alexander, we nearly asked him to change his name. Shiva, that's your name? I can't remember. I know you're watching. And I had to tell him, I'm not in this to fight. Don't come to fight me. If I tell you that we have to stimulate the economy with credit, if you disagree, don't make it personal. But the truth of the matter is, without credit, you cannot stimulate an economy. Without business, you can't have a middle class. All we are is workers. The union don't understand that. The union, well, I guess that must be what they want too. Just workers. Coming straight out of school. Like soldiers in the army. Go one time. You work in Amalgamated. You work in KFC. You go and make sandwich in Subway. You go and pour coffee in Rituals. What the hell going on in this country? What? Use credit unions. Credit unions can't do what a bank's supposed to do. Bring banks. Open up the industry. I want you to know. I want you, the average person, to know. Know what it is. Know how it works. Understand the machinery of the thing. That you have a right to credit. You have a right to a country where you can access credit to build a business. Hope and opportunity. When we talk that, we're not just saying those as punchlines. Hope and opportunity are the 2 rails of the Progressive Empowerment Party. All of our policies ride on that. Hope, opportunity. You must give people hope and opportunity for an education, for healthcare, for home ownership, for affordable living, for business development. People ask how you will diversify the economy. Make credit available. Watch what people do. Some businesses will fail and some will succeed. They write off Apple 5 times. From the time it was born, Apple Computing, they write it off 5 times. Apple is now the biggest company in the world. The absolute biggest company in the world. But we have paper economists in this country. In a nation that has run itself like a parlor from the start. We have a cocoa boom, then an oil boom, then a sugar boom, then back to an oil boom. And these paper economists want to be able to talk like they know what they're talking about. You see, I know how to read and regurgitate. I could argue with you with the next man words, but I prefer to use my brain. And I prefer to understand how things work. So when I tell you, protect, and this is what this jackass Shiva Alexander argued with me about, I am saying we need tariffs and duties to protect our manufacturing sector from the big boys outside. If somebody in Trinidad gets into the manufacture of chocolate, it will of course cost that person more for everything than it costs Hershey's and Nestle and Mars and Milky Way. So we must make sure that they can't come in this market and undersell this person, because this person hires our people. We not buying and selling. Retail sounds like, well, they're making jobs too. Those are not jobs. Those are positions. They're fleeting. That company goes away. Those jobs evaporate. We need real sustainable jobs. When you create an economy where, and you see when you're going Massey, to find the local stuff, to find the pawpaw balls and the tulum and the tamran and the kurma, those things, you have to bend down, stoop down, move thing aside, climb down below the cash register to find it. But M&M's in your face. We need to treat our businesses and our people with respect. We need to create an environment, because Coca-Cola became the world's #1 selling soft drink by doing a deal with the United States Army that wherever they land, Coke would go with them and take Coke for the boys. That is what you call helping business grow. We need to do that too. And you can't change the game when all your players big, all your boys large, and then you say, okay, free market. Bullshit. We are to catch up, brother. You had 200 years. You had 200 years. We have to protect our cereal makers and our bakers and our. You see the kind of foolishness that being sold in this country has closed our people? Fake brands, knockoffs. And is either that or nothing? Because ask the locals who want to get into clothing manufacturing. We have some very talented people. Look, Anya Ayamchi won. What was that show? I used to watch it. She won it. And she learned to sew 3 months before. Trinidadians are talented people. But they're stuck in a country that doesn't give them hope or opportunity. So the best they could hope for is to fly out. Fly out. We've lived in a country where you could cut cane, you could work in CPEP and URP, or you could work for Massey and Sabga. That's it. Now you tell me. You tell me how any of that is good governance. Where were the people with a vision for the people of this country? Why shut down all of the genuine mom and pop guest houses in Tobago to bring sandals and make slaves of everybody in Tobago? Why do that? You, Keith Rowley, the blackest man in Trinidad and Tobago, why re-enslave our people? Why, instead of making them hand and foot servants, the Butch Stewart and whoever else owns Sandals. Why not give them hope and opportunity? If Sandals want to come and build 800 rooms, fine. 800 rooms could be 10 rooms, 80 guest houses. Let's create a market for 80 guest houses because it's quaint, it's Tobago. You read what CNN wrote about it today. It's unspoiled. CNN loved that there is no Sandals and those big ass brands. Why spoil it? Why have no vision? Why be driven just by greed? Why want to cookie cut and rubber stamp and McDonald's and Burger King everything in the country? Why? Why nothing homegrown? Why we not making our own Levi's and our own Reeboks? Why we can't help people up, give them a hand up instead of a handout? Why we can't go back? I don't think we ever were there. Why we can't create an economy that supports entrepreneurship and small businesses? It is better to have 10,000 people hiring 2 people each than looking to get one man to hire 20,000. Because when he closed down, all gone. But we've lost every opportunity. We've sold our culture to China. Carnival is made in China. All these things I'm telling you, forget me. Just think about it. Think about it. If you were creative and you want to get into business and to do your business, you can't do it in Trinidad. 1, there's nobody to help you here. And 2, you're unprotected. But if you go America and they accept you, they will fund and finance you. You all saw the gentleman who went Canada with his 1-ton folding machine. You saw the speed? We have this jackass show, planting seeds. I want to go into it bad because I've seen some of the investors. And I want to ask the investors, hey, where your money come from? Plant some seeds of truth. But we'll stick a pin. Stick a pin. We had to copy and paste everything. Couldn't invent our own show. We had to copy Dragon's Den and Shark Tank. Planting seeds, my ass. But why don't we have real opportunities for real entrepreneurs? Why must this be a gangster's paradise? Why the only way for our people to achieve the goals young men, all our young men want, is to be able to dress up nice and tips girls. You ever see them? Friday night. They could work hard. You could bust their knuckles till it bleed. All the money in their pocket spending because they want to like themselves. So why we can't give our people the opportunity to properly express themselves in their country? Why not? Why is everything so wrong in this country? Why is everything so broken? And why is nobody else speaking about these issues? You see what we have? Unions as gangs. Every time I see David Abdullah and Ansel Roger, I see them as symbols. What's wrong with this country? Ansa Makal, Massey, those are symbols of what is wrong with the country. Trinidad is too small to have that alone as our commercial sector. We need to undo and redo that. Fastest way to do that is with credit. Because you don't have to ask people to be creative and you don't have to ask people to take advantage. They're outside there and they want help. They want help. There are a lot of people who are working for other people tonight that if they had an opportunity tomorrow to access credit to start their own business, they're gone. As watch this girl, Michelle Sohan at Bakery Treats. When you talk to that girl and you realize she's a food technologist, they used to have an ice cream thing in Trinidad called Dairy Bar. She make all their flavors. She's brilliant. She win cake decorating competitions all over the world. She's a good friend of mine. And she owned her little bakery in Chaguanas, Bakery Treats. And fighting against the big guns who putting out crap. I mean, Kiss and all that shit is like cardboard compared to what this girl could do. And she can't tap into the resources that she needs. If we had a government that had sense, they would say, but if we could make one, and she winning competitions the world over, if we give her the opportunity, because she was giving her knowledge away for free. She was hiring interns and teaching them, do it, look, this is how you do it. No secrets. Look at here. Why they didn't fund her? Give her support. She looking to shut down and leave. And I know if she does, in quick time, they'll be boasting about her in some state in America. We don't have any regard for ourselves, our people. Steel ban, steel pan. Japan has more respect for steel pan than we do. We have no respect for it. All of these things that we're discussing, all of these things could fix. And all of these things could change. But you have to want it. We could continue to live like this, We could continue to live like this, but it ain't gonna last. We've lost the middle class, pretty much. We've lost them. And it's only a matter of time that we end up in a real crisis. You, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, by your vote, your labor, and your consumption, determine what happens next. Who you work for, where you spend your money, what you spend your money on, who you vote for, those things, by your actions, the country is how it is. So you have to decide if that's what you want.
Your vote will decide our destiny. Your vote will decide what you want to be.
Tonight I was talking to a girl, Shauna Huggins. She wrote a book, she and her team, about manners, teaching children how to do better, filling the gap between parenting and teaching. And their team were willing to get involved with the Ministry of National Security. I took them to meeting after meeting. Unuku, or whatever his name is from NJAC, who was Gary Griffith's assistant minister, used to come into the meeting and fall asleep. Waste of friggin' time. And it was his market. He said, because the NJAC, you're supposed to be, your target audience is the lowest rungs of society. Poor black urban people. This was for them. You ain't take them on. I watched Marsha Riley. Now she working for Sabga. Marsha Riley doing thing on the radio and on the TV. But that's not what Marsha Riley set off to do. That's not why I took Marsha Riley on TV, on Synergy. Marsha had a brilliant idea. She was writing a book about other people's successes and using it as a catalyst to encourage other people to tell their stories and to step up. She couldn't get funding. She couldn't get support. It's fed up, yes? Anyway, tomorrow we're in Tunapuna at 6 o'clock. And we're going to be talking this talk. We're going to be hammering it home. We are going to be informing, empowering, and educating the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The Progressive Empowerment Party has one mission, and we said from the start, for us, a win is not a win. We don't have to win office to win. You see, the more people that wake up every single day, you see, the more people that step up and stand up and sharing the information and talking, critical thinking. It's infectious. I look around and I see people and they challenge me. Challenge me, I like that. Don't just come to attack from a sycophantic, racist point of view. I have no time with that. I am not the jackass whisperer. I can't deal with every single clown dragging his knuckles through town. We want to deal with people who are woke, who want a better nation, who are willing to step up and say, you know what? I don't really agree with that, but I suggest this, and I'm willing to help with this. To just come and pelt a stone. It's easy to sit down on your couch and talk about how Michael Jackson learned how to moonwalk. You do it now, or make up your own dance. It is easy to condemn. It is easy to condemn. It is time we put that foolishness aside. Breaking down is not helping nobody. It's not helping nobody at all. I watching this boy Darius commenting. You see what Darius doing on his t-shirts? If we lose Darius will go somewhere else and they will take him and they will fund him and he'll go international. The guy who makes the t-shirts that I wear, you see his talent? We need to see each other and our potential and our capacity. We need to see this nation as a playground, as a home, as a place for hope and opportunity to take root for everybody to have a chance at a life. We can't continue to just be sending our children into school from the age of 5 and bring them out and put them to work until they retire and then dead. That cannot be how we run this country. Cannot be. Cannot be. We have a lot of people with a lot of education that proven the Bible right, that said, I will bring to nothing the wisdom of the wise. Plenty chatter. You're doing nothing with it. Let us step up. Let us step forward. Let us take a daring chance. This has never been a properly run country. We've always been accelerating through the skid. If you were to look at Trinidad from independence to now, it's like a car stuck in mud going forward. Swerving and sticking and accelerating and going. Nothing with a plan. Nothing at all. We've been just running up a bill until the next boom. That's what Colm doing right now. Colm has mortgaged all of us and our children's future. And that's how they're going to continue to run the country. And that cannot continue. Because at some point, the banks will stop taking their calls. And then it will be too late. You see, when people arguing about the price of our food, if we grow our food to feed ourselves, I'm trying to get the fools to understand. If the world goes to war tomorrow, you think we have wheat and corn to get? Ask England about World War II now. Ask them about food rationing. Ask them when food became king. We are wholly dependent on other people for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is madness. It is time to make sure that we are feeding ourselves all of these issues. We have to make sure we're paying attention to all of these issues. The Progressive Empowerment Party has comprehensive policies for all of these things. You know what? Tell the government, steal the ideas. Tell Keith Rowley, steal the finance idea. Tell him steal it. Tell the banks to put credit back into the economy. Tell him steal it. Country on fire. Camelot sinking. The Titanic bearing down on an iceberg. And the oval packed to capacity. We are serious, you know. We are serious yet. Trinidadians going to continue like this until we hit a brick wall. I fear for this nation. I fear for it. We're going to continue like this until we get the rudest of surprises. Then they're going to be back in hell. The real jamming going to start then. You think we jamming now? We jamming. The real jamming. Anyway, tomorrow, peptrinbago@gmail.com. Send your emails. Subscribe. Download the app. The website launching next week. We in Tunapuna. Tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Come out in your numbers. Those who want to meet the team members, best place to do it. Those who want to come on board and volunteer, we have all our meetings there. Come and join up. See you tomorrow. Stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.